Sound on.
Fingers crossed. Is it going to work?
All right. So for the first time ever, we are live, officially live.
Don't jinx it. Just
I'm not. I'm saying for the first time ever, we're live on a Wednesday night. I think it's first time ever.
I think we might have done one on a Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So maybe second one.
Possibly. First or second. Either way, we're here on a Wednesday, and fingers crossed, equipment is working tonight.
Yeah, we have a brand new iPad Pro. So we had a how old was that iPad, Jeff? 20 years?
like 3 months.
Yeah, right. He said 3 months. Let's see if we can set a Wednesday
just
night
about
record.
as old as my iPhone.
Yeah, so apparently we've been live one other time on a Wednesday night, and sorry, there was a nap.
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, possibly. So if we
Matt, move your mic.
if we break 100, he said Mike said it's blocking my face. I'm just
It
glad
is.
that people want to see
I'm
my
watching
face.
it on my feed, and I can't see your face.
It's like
That's
it's like
worse.
Anchorman. It's like I don't know what to do with my hands or my mic.
You got to go lower. We come at it from a lower. This is awesome. He's
How's
fighting,
that?
He's fighting the mic.
Does that look better?
Hang on.
Okay.
That's a little better.
Oh, it's Talladega Nights. My
yeah,
bad.
that's a little better. That's
All right,
good.
a little better.
Yeah, we can see your face.
I'll sit up straight. So we do have a hot topic tonight, but first off, again, y'all know Let's Talk Fish presented by English Choice Marine. You may have heard parts of that last night, maybe none of it, maybe all of it, but
Maybe.
we have no idea. Brandy, I'm glad you can hear tonight because that's music to my ears. I don't know about the rest of it, but it's music to my ears. It is presented by English Choice Marine. We have a special giveaway at the end of the show, sponsored by English Choice. We've got one of them sweet weigh-in bags, and with heavy-duty weigh-in bags, English Choice printed on them. Also, a English Choice hat coming at the winter tonight. So y'all stay tuned to the end of the show for that. If you're not familiar with English Choice Marine, you go online, check out their new tackle store, online tackle store, acmtackle.com. A lot of really, really, really cool things on there that you don't see everywhere in the U.S. I can promise you that. So
Yeah, they got a good selection of some stuff most tackle stores don't carry.
yeah, that's right. All right, we
A lot of homemade stuff.
and special
custom
color
stuff.
runs,
Yeah,
all
special
kind of stuff.
colors.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And a good mix of like international and local stuff too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so
Every time I go in there, it costs me some money. A lot of money.
I won't tell you when we were at that open house what we all spent money while we were there.
Oh, Terry Scroggins spent a
That's the
lot.
one. He almost hit $1,000 that day. He almost hit $1,000, which was I've spent I don't think I've ever spent $1,000 in a tackle store, but I've spent
I don't think I have.
I've spent $400 or $500 multiple times.
Every time I go to the Trent store or English Choice, it's a minimum of 150.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. Because there again, why? Because they always have something you can't buy anywhere else.
Right. There's something that's hard to find.
Yep. All right, y'all. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I know it's a Wednesday night. I tried to make a post that we had some technical issues last night, but we have several improvements, equipment upgrades, updates done, all kinds of goodies. So I think I think it's mutual in that if it doesn't work tonight, we're all just going to quit. LTF may just come to an end.
Is it really?
Well, Jeff's saying we're jinxing it. Y'all keep talking, it's going to go out. So I got confidence, man. I just feel good about tonight. I think we're rocking and rolling. I think we'll be good to go. So, all right, let's jump into the hottest topic on the internet lately. It seems like, and that is the Cayuga Lake. Now, if y'all have any questions about any of our previous events, I don't have a lot to say about the Sabine since I finished 102nd out of 104 anglers. I beat 2 guys, and one of them wasn't there.
Hey, I thought that's where I was headed at Cayuga.
You had a good comeback on day 2.
I had a good comeback the second day. The first day, though, I was thinking, well, I actually thought about that. I was like, Matt and I are going to have a great show when we get back because we're both going to finish dead last.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even think we've had a show since Lay Lake, which, I had a good finish there, but I started off strong and then kind of petered out a little bit. But the first day that I had that big bag and was in third, it was kind of like one here, one there, doing
Right.
just random, typical early May
So
fishing.
I guess we've had 4 events since our last show.
I don't know how many we've had.
Yeah, so y'all had Lay and Sabine. We had Gunners on Cayuga.
Yeah, that's right. And you had where'd you finish at Gunnersville?
15th.
You had a strong finish there. But yeah, and any questions about any of those events, instead of us talking for an hour about 4 tournaments that have long been passed now,
Yeah,
other than the Cayuga one.
Ancient history in the terms
Yeah.
of bass fishing world.
And, you had that comment about Cayuga, but I'm sitting here thinking maybe if you'd played the game a little differently like some of your competitors did, you never know.
So let me break down what I did at Cayuga before we get into anything
Okay,
else.
okay.
So,
and any questions about Cayuga stuff, y'all shoot them over. I'm watching the feed, so.
yeah. So this is my first time at a early tournament on a smallmouth fishery, a northern fishery. So
When it was like full-blown spawn.
right, and that's what killed me. Like I was beat before practice even started not before practice started, but the first minute I put the boat in the water. So I put the boat in the water, and I'm thinking about the smallmouth like everyone else in the field, because I knew what everyone had did the previous year. I mean, I think Dakota caught like a 710 smallmouth the previous year in the summer. Connell won on smallmouth. So pretty much everybody in the field's got smallmouth on their brain. They're
Right.
we're going to go look for smallmouth. So I run down the lake the first morning in practice, and I get down there, and I start on the east side of the lake, and dude, the water's 52 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
Were you in 300 foot of water?
No, I was up on the bank.
Oh, okay.
And I guess just the lake's so deep, so it's like 450 feet in the middle. And when the wind blows, it just swirls all those currents around. It can bring in a pocket of cool water on the bank, and evidently it doesn't affect the fish. But when I saw that the first morning of practice, I'm like, well, screw this. I'm going up north to fish for largemouth. The water's 52 degrees down here. Then I get up north and the water's 64, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So I spend all my time trying to fish offshore grass and practice. And after practice is over, I pretty much know I'm about to get my butt kicked.
Did you not have a good practice at all?
Now, I caught a lot of fish, just a lot of 3-pounders. And
Yeah.
that was not any good.
Yeah.
So that's what I did the first day, just hoping that, hey, maybe, if we run into a 5 or 2, we'll be all right. But I went and caught 10 limits of 3-pounders and never caught a good one. And that's where I ended the day. I was almost in last place. So the second day, I decided that I'm going to go somewhere I've never been before in my life, never seen. So I'm going all the way to the southern end of the lake. I'm going to go till the boat hits land, and I'm going to start fishing for largemouth down there. So that's
And for
what
anybody that's not familiar with Cayuga, it's super long. It's one of the Finger Lakes, okay?
Yeah, it's like 40 miles.
Yeah,
something.
but it's only like, I think it's widest point a mile wide or something. I mean, maybe roughly. I'm just guessing.
I think a couple places probably 2.5, 3
Maybe
miles
2
wide.
miles
Yeah.
wide or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and on top of that, it's like 400 feet deep in the middle.
Yeah, it's
so like,
deep.
it's
It's a deep
crazy
lake.
deep lake.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry, I just giving them an overview of the way Cayuga laid out.
So the way it lays out is, I think there's largemouth scattered throughout the lake, but the northern ends you have a shallow grass flat, and you have a large population of largemouth, and then on the lower end you have another smaller shallow grass flat with a population of largemouth. So I went all the way down there the second day, my second day, and I only saw 3 boats all day, and they didn't stay very long, and I ended up catching 25 pounds of largemouth down there, which kind of salvaged my tournament. I caught a couple on frog, caught my biggest ones on the 4-inch stinger, of course, and they were up there super shallow, swimming around. I wasn't really sight fishing. Like I would blaze down the bank, and I would see 3 or 4 sitting on a stretch, and I would kind of spook them off and then turn around and come back 20 minutes later and stay back and fan cast that 4-inch Tamiki stinger. Ended up catching a 512, a 514 largemouth, and just had a lot of fun that second day. But I really saw where I screwed up. So that to me it felt good to kind of redeem myself from the first day and at least have a decent finish. I know I didn't make the cut, but I ended up moving up, I think 12 or 13 places that last day. So I was happy with that. But that was my Cayuga tournament. I flat beat myself badly.
If anybody watched that event go down, you obviously saw the dominant deal was sight fishing smallmouth.
Oh, yeah.
And what was interesting to me, and I thought this early on because of y'all's format, is that, well, heck, smallmouth are probably one of the easiest fish in the world to catch off the bed if they hadn't been tampered with a ton.
Right.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself after the preliminary rounds, about the guys that were leading the preliminary rounds, doing really well, top 10 weights. I said, hell, they're just going to keep catching the same fish throughout the semifinal and final rounds. Why wouldn't
Oh
you?
yeah, why wouldn't you? Like,
So
if they know where 5-6 pounders are,
Right.
they can go catch all 5 of them.
perfectly legal, nothing wrong with that.
Perfectly legal.
Just really makes for a really weird tournament, right?
It does make for a weird tournament, but with our format, it allows us to go do that with the catch, weigh, and release. Like, because we were there essentially before season was open, like it was illegal to put fish in your live well.
Yeah, yep.
But we could still stage a tournament there with the MLF format of catch, weigh, and release. So it made for a great event. I mean, there was, 4 or 5 guys that would have had over 100 pounds in 4 days. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous,
Yeah.
especially with smallmouth.
That
Now, if it hadn't been catch, weigh, and release, would we have saw that many people over 100 pounds? I don't know.
you and I discussed that last night because my question to you was, of anybody that would have had 100 pounds in y'all's format, would they have had it 100 pounds in our format?
Right. If,
Meaning-
if they were taking them to the scales.
Correct, yes.
That
Who knows?
Who
I mean,
knows?
nobody
Who
can
knows?
really
But I
answer
mean,
that
if
question.
you look back at the weights from 2022 when Connell won, I mean, they were catching giant smallmouth then. I mean, I haven't added up the 4 days of what Dustin caught, but he may have had over 100 pounds of smallmouth in that event.
Yeah, there's huge smallmouth in
Right.
there.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if his 5 biggest each day when he won last year weren't over 100 pounds.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see, to check that out. So basically, y'all, if you saw the topic of the show, the title, what was posted on Facebook, whatever, it was talking about, Cayuga rule breaking and or drama or whatever. So what's going on? If a lot of you, what was that TikTok, that guy's TikTok page that was?
Oh, somebody sent it to me. I don't remember the
Do
guy's
you know what it
name.
was, Tyler? You know what that guy's page is? Slick Johnson. Okay, who's a pretty reputable Alabama guy. He's a tournament fisherman, not just a local tournament. I think he fishes some regional stuff. And so when you sent me that link, I had watched some other stuff from their channel, and seemed like pretty good old boys. But I was watching and listening to some of those videos that he had posted, and y'all can go on there and check them out. But there was some really odd stuff going on, and one thing that I saw, and it was with Spencer Sheffield with a couple catches he had, was that here's the thing, y'all's rule, and I looked at y'all's rules today, so I made sure I read this right. You have to have a sight bass verified by your judge that it's hooked inside the mouth.
So rule, I've got it right here. MLF sent out an email on it today.
Imagine that.
Well, just saying
Highlighting the
what's
rule.
going on. Like
Yeah.
So for everybody wondering, there are some investigations taking place.
So I heard that today with polygraphs and things like that going down.
There are some
Okay.
investigations taking place. Let me.
Investigations. I like how you say that.
Yeah, I'm trying. Well, I want to read you what this says, so
Detective thrifts at work.
you'll know that they're taking this seriously. Like it's nothing they're taking lightly and trying to brush off. They are taking this seriously. And let's see. It says they're doing reviews. There may be some adjustments in
This is an email to you
penalties.
today?
Yes, or to the whole field.
Okay.
And let's see, I'm trying to. So several anglers have come forward alleging some competitors weighed fish that were not verified by MLF officials being hooked inside the mouth, and that some competitors caught the same fish twice while sight fishing.
In the same day.
In
You
the
could
same
do
day.
it. You
In the
could do
same
it
day.
in multiple days. You just couldn't do it in the same day.
And then it goes on, says, we take these allegations seriously, thus a comprehensive video review is currently underway, and they will let us know what they find with that. So I imagine they're reviewing all of the live footage and stuff like that. But yes, so the way our sight fishing rule reads is you cannot visibly catch the same bedding bass multiple times during one day. So I could catch it today and then catch it tomorrow and the next day, but I can't catch it twice the first day.
And for anybody, just to add to that, for anybody that hasn't fished spawning smallmouth, it's not very easy, but it's very possible
It's
to
doable.
catch the same one every day and the same one multiple times a
Right.
day. In smallmouth terms, I mean, it's happened in largemouth. So we were at Lake Fork and we had to catch weight release format. This was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of spawning fish. Well, I started on a 4-pounder. It's like a 1-caster. I caught it. John Cox, about 2 hours later, he caught it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there was another boy. He was a rookie then, and I don't think he's on the Elite Series anymore. He also caught it. We caught that. That fish was weighed 3 times in one day by 3 different anglers.
Yeah.
So it's
And I'm sure a lot of smallmouth at Cayuga were the same way. For as many guys as
yeah.
it seems we're down there fishing for a smallmouth. But the way the rule is written and the way it's laid out is you have to visibly see that fish every time. So you could go up there and sight fish.
Every time? Does the
Yes.
rule say every time?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Because you
that's
don't-
where it's gray.
And it's not really gray. Like, it's a valid point if you think about it. Because say you're up there sight fishing, you catch it.
Okay.
You come back an hour later, you know where the fish is at, but you stay back 30 or 40
Correct.
yards. You can't see it. There's a 90% chance you caught the same fish, but you can't be 100% sure if you didn't go up there and visibly look
Right,
at it.
but you and I know as experienced bass fishermen, it's the
Right,
same
we
bass.
know it's most likely the same
So-
bass. But as far as a penalty is concerned, you can't really give somebody a penalty.
No, you're right. Like, I 100%
Yeah.
agree. So I think that rule needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, don't
I
you?
agree with
Like,
100%.
it needs
I
to
think
be
it needs to be
readjusted.
rewritten. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So I didn't know that your rule stated every time. I didn't read that part.
Like, well, it's.
I guess 'cause
it
I assume
doesn't say
differently.
every time, but it has to be like you have to be visibly looking at it.
Okay. So
Is
the way
oh, hit the mic.
I'd have to double check our rule, but the way I think I interpret our rule on sight bass, it's a little bit different because we put ours in the live well. So
Yeah, so the way the rule reads, it says when sight fishing, visibly targeting bass, anglers cannot weigh the same bass more than once per day. Catching the same bass while sight fishing more than once per day and weighing it more than once per day may result in a loss of weight, loss of fishing time, a fine, or any other penalty as outlined and determined by the tournament director.
Okay.
So everything in that rule depends on visibly seeing that bass.
Yes.
Actually sight fishing.
So the funniest video I saw, and I don't think he was in the wrong at all based on what you just said, was Takahiro fishing on championship day.
Yeah.
He had caught one off the bed. I don't know, 5-pounder. They were all 5-pounders, seemed like.
Seemed like it.
They were
I
all
think I was
5-6s.
the only one that didn't catch a 5-pound smallmouth.
You are the only one that didn't.
Possibly.
So he caught it, and he had a conversation with his marshal judge, and about catching that fish again, but not technically looking at it. Okay, so
I think my screen froze.
the
up.
disagreement I think between him and his marshal was that you good? Oh, Tyler's staring at me like all funny, like something's going on. I was scared to death. I thought we had a breakdown. Was that the day before, it sounded like he had caught the same fish multiple times, but just the second or third or whatever time he caught it, he was not visibly looking at the fish. So, per your rule, technically, that is not illegal.
Right.
It's a little bit weird. Absolutely.
It's a little weird.
But, yeah.
But at any time, if that angler saw that fish, if he got close enough and he
laid
saw
eyes
the
on
fish,
it one time.
yeah, then it counts as a sight bass,
Okay.
and you're not, like, per the rule, you're not allowed to catch it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what I understood Talk saying was that, he basically the way his marshal explained it to him the day before was different than the way his marshal was explaining. And I got a little. So here's the thing: like y'all have with y'all's format, y'all have judges, referees, basically. And when y'all change formats and you didn't have the same crew all the time, it becomes a little bit more challenging. Because
it does.
Yeah, because when you have a fresh group of guys that comes in, just like we do at every tournament as marshals.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine our guys, and I'm sure they're perfectly capable. This is nothing against any marshal that I've ever had. They're perfectly capable of doing that. But here's the thing. Like, you're Tyler Warden. You're a huge fan of Bryan Thrift. Well, you signed up to marshal their event because you want to get in the boat with Bryan Thrift. Well, you get paired with Bryan Thrift the first day. The last thing you ever want to do is tell Bryan he just broke a rule. And I'm just saying that.
I don't think they're like that.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to think from the outside in.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, and it's also not that they're not used to that situation.
Right.
They're not used to that, having to make that call. They're not experienced referees
Right.
or experienced judges,
Well,
like y'all had
they go through a all-day training class. So every event they have. So what MLF did was they retained, I think 10 or 12 of the longtime officials that have been there since the inception of MLF. And at every event, the day before the event, they have an all-day training session with the tournament directors, with the longtime MLF officials, training a group of the other officials and getting them up to date on everything. And they do a really great job training the guys that are only doing 1 or 2 events. But, most of the officials that I've had this year, I always talk to them, we hang out, we're fishing all day, hanging out. And most of them are doing multiple events this year. Like, I've only had one guy that said he wasn't doing more than 2 events this year. Pretty much all of them are doing 3, 4 events.
Well, that's a good thing for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
it's great, and it's been a really pleasant experience. I've enjoyed doing that.
And the only reason I brought that up was because I'm just thinking about other sports, which I know you can't compare to other sports, but I'm thinking about referees in college basketball or referees in hockey or whatever you want to say. Like, they wouldn't bring me and Tyler in and train us for one day to go ref an NHL game. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like, so that's the way that's my train of thinking. But anyway, that being said, like, I saw some blame being thrown around on social media today, and I did a lot of social media investigations today. I saw some really crazy stuff and some crazy comments. You always do on social media, regardless. Yeah. But I saw some comments kind of throwing shade or throwing blame towards marshals and stuff, and I didn't like that. And it's because of kind of what I just said. Like, you got to give a lot of those guys the benefit of the doubt. They're doing the best they can. They're doing, they're some of them are fresh, some of them aren't. Right. But the angler is 100% solely responsible for doing the right thing.
Yes.
In every situation. Some of the stuff that I saw, I'm not going to sit here and say anybody did anything wrong, and I'm 100% correct they did something wrong, but it just looked wrong. Like, it didn't look right. There was a lot of things I saw that just didn't look right. Yeah. And I've done this for a long time.
And I think that's why there's stuff under review. I mean, I'm sure they'll comb through all the data and all the different sets of data points they've got and figure out what's going on, what was, worthy of a penalty, and what wasn't.
Yeah, and Zach, I'm not disagreeing with you. He said it's not weird, it's greasy. But he came out later and he said, Bass has no shortage of gray line. He called them greasers itself.
I like that word, greasers.
And every professional athlete in every sport, I mean, heaven forbid, look at NASCAR, tries to play the gray area as hard as they can play it to gain an advantage. I have nothing wrong with that. What I do have a problem with is angler knowingly breaking a rule and then slipping it in there, when he made a comment here, he said the marshal has to take the word of the pro on what they claim to see. That's not true in MLS.
No, that's not true at all.
That referee can 100% overrule, give him a penalty, call it in, whatever he wants to do, he can do that. Our marshals can do the same thing. If our marshal sees something out of hand, he can go report us, just like another angler can. Our marshal can. Now, somebody on the bank, not necessarily, but our marshal can. So technically, we're under obviously a magnifying glass all the time because we're on live, we're on the internet. There's videos. I mean, I've seen videos that were edited to make it look like somebody cheated when they actually didn't.
Really?
Oh yeah, you see that? Look, it's happened in the past.
I hadn't seen that.
Software, and these little things right here can do amazing things.
Oh, I guarantee
when I say edited, I'm talking about like skipping a little part of
leaving
the catch.
a little bit out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about changing what happened. I'm talking about just leaving some stuff out.
Leaving some stuff.
And that happens every day online, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have to take everything that you see with a grain of salt. But the best thing that I can come up with, and from what I've seen and just an outsider looking in, that MLF, now that I know, is doing the right thing because they got some serious investigations to do on that tournament.
They've got a lot of work, on their shoulders for the next few days.
Yeah,
but
I would hate to be in
that. That's kind of the reason. Not kind of the reason, but that's what the leagues do, MLF and Bass. When they notice a gray area like this, they're going to try to rectify it. So I'm sure next year, maybe this next event we have at St. Clair next week, this rule may be changed totally to do away with the gray area. Because you never know there's a gray area until somebody gets in the gray area. And then that's when you have to make a change.
Yeah, 100%. What about, so Fred Ashcraft had a question about what about Bass's last few DQs? So last few DQs, so Josh, talking about Strachner, was DQ'd at the Sabine River event. Now, Fred, there's multiple articles about why he was DQ'd on Bassmaster. I think Bass Fan posted one. A bunch of them posted one. Bass 365, I think, posted one. It was all over the internet. But that being said, from what I understand, and you can verify this through those articles, because they interviewed Josh about it. As
So
far as
I
know.
hadn't even heard about it. So.
Yeah, so Josh Strasser was DQ'd for the Sabine River event. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary that he did. So, and y'all can double check me on this. I know you keyboard warriors will. So I know somebody out there will. So basically, he was down there pre-fishing, I think, at the Sabine River, looking for that magic spot, learning how to navigate. From the report I heard, he wasn't actually fishing. Of course, he was in his wrap bass boat. He gets pulled over, doesn't have a license, gets a ticket. Okay, he goes back and tries to purchase a license for the BASS event that we had on the Sabine River, and was not able to do so because. And somebody correct me on this, and y'all can double check.
He was trying to get a Texas, like
trying to get a
non-resident
Texas
fish
license,
Yeah.
and because he had a violation, had been ticketed for not having a license in the state. He was on a probation period. I don't know if it was 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
I heard it was a year, where you cannot buy a license until that period's over.
Oh, goodness.
If you had received a violation for not having a license.
Right.
Which I think is kind of jacked up, because especially in his situation, Josh wasn't down there like on a vacation fishing with his buddies for 6 days. He was down there doing his research.
Yeah.
He didn't purchase a license for whatever reason. Maybe he never actually picked up a rod.
Right.
So
You don't have to have a license to drive a boat, don't you?
Correct. Well, driver's license, but
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
you
I
don't
know what
have
you
to
mean.
buy a wildlife license.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, Fred, I wasn't in the boat with Josh. I don't know if he actually picked up a rod, made a cast or not, but that's between him and the game warden and the ticket that he received. Unfortunately for Josh, it cost him a disqualification and missing an entire Elite Series event, which in turn typically destroys your hopes for a classic, because you gotta crush them all year just to make the classic. So, all right, let's.
So Chuck asked if the marshal has to remember where a fish was caught, or do they use GPS? So when the official enters the weight on the iPad for the score tracker, it actually records your location. So they're putting in a location and everything. So yes, they can go back and they can view where an angler caught a fish, what time he caught the fish, how much weight the fish, how much the fish weighed. So they've got a lot of information they can use to figure out if anybody was doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
So they corrected me, and I knew they would if I was wrong. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
apparently the report was it was from another state that is reciprocal or cooperative with Texas, from what he saw. So that's even more interesting to me, that Texas would punish somebody that got a ticket in another state.
Well, there's a lot of states that are grouped in together. Like if you get ticketed for breaking a wildlife rule in one state, you maybe can't purchase a license in 15 states.
Okay, well, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. Okay, well, interesting. So I need to. Yeah, Fred, Josh is a great guy. I mean, I haven't. Josh kind of quiet, but seems like a super good individual. He great fisherman, won a lot of tournaments, especially in the state of Alabama. But anyway, I hated to see that regardless.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mike Harris said I was correct. It's 1 year, and several states are in the same group. Basically, what y'all just were talking about, and meaning if you have a ticket in one state, you can't get one elsewhere. That's
Dean says ticket was issued in South Dakota from a pre-fish period.
okay. So that was for our Lake Oahe tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So I'm learning more and more right now. I didn't actually read the article. It's just what I was told. So I was right. I was just wrong in where he got the ticket.
Right.
So and it's a year. So that's pretty crazy. I wonder what that list of states is, because
I don't know.
I mean,
we've got some great Googlers. So somebody find us out the list of states.
yeah. So Brian and I never make that. No. No. We buy licenses everywhere we go. But,
Yeah. I just bought like 6 licenses
did you?
today. Or no, I just got them in the mail today.
You buy them ahead of time?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like for multiple tournaments?
No, for St. Clair we got to have.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, we got to have Michigan license,
Walpole.
Canadian license,
Yeah.
Walpole license, Walpole pleasure boating license.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Oh yeah. There's like 4.
You got to have your Ontario
card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your sportsman's card or
I
whatever
don't
it
know.
is.
I got a letter
Yeah,
with
it's
like
about
5 different licenses.
$300 worth of license to go
Yes.
catch a smallmouth. Interesting. I got a funny story about that real quick. It's not funny, actually. It's pretty bad, but And I've never told this on LTF, but we were
Oh, it's
fishing.
getting good.
Well, you know Bill Taylor well, like I do.
Yeah.
And bless him. Everybody loves Bill Taylor, but he's retired now. And Bill was always a trip. But him and I kind of had a few words one time, and I'll tell you why. This is the story. And I said, so I'm up at St. Clair, fishing FLW tour event. This is 7 or 8 years ago. You were fishing it. I think it's the one Dylan Hayes. I mean, we're not going to talk about how it was won, but I think it's the one Dylan Hayes and Chad Grigsby were sharing that place.
Oh, yeah. 18's when it was.
Yeah, and it's all public info regardless. But we're up there fishing, and we've got co-anglers, FLW, still. And I'm out there fishing. I'm in Canadian water.
Yeah.
And we're catching them pretty good. And my co-angler, he's a little young guy, 17, 18 years old. He's still in high school. And nice kid, good fisherman. He's from Georgia. I think his daddy had brought him up there to fish the tournament as a co-angler. It's pretty cool. And he gets paired with me, and we go out there, and he's got like 18 pounds in the box.
Yeah.
And
he's having a good day.
Yeah, and I've got a good bag, and we're over there having a good time. And I see the game war, and he's floating around checking. He's checking everybody in Canada. There's 3 of them in one boat. They're checking everybody in Canada. Just bouncing around one boat, and whatever, no big deal. I got my license. He rolls up on us, and he goes to check my license. I show him my license first, and I go back to fishing, and they're got up beside us, and they check my co-angler's license that he didn't have. And
he didn't have
and he said he handed him his Michigan license, and now he knew because this was very well laid out in the tournament.
Right.
And he said, well, I have a Canadian license. He said, I have a Canadian license, and the guys are like, no problem, we can look it up. They were real nice. We can look it up. What's your name, birthday, yada yada yada, Social Security, whatever they asked him. And he gave him all the information, and of course, 2 minutes later, they're like, "Yeah, you don't have a license." Ooh. And he's like, "Oh, I thought I did." And he what made me ill is that he was telling him he did, and then he played like he did.
And then I was like, picture, you knew he didn't have it.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Come on, man!" And after it's done, so what they do now? I'm 25 miles over in the Canadian water. Okay?
Right.
Keep in mind, we go out of Metro Park.
Yeah,
went out of Metro Park, and he has to throw all his fish back.
Oh, yeah.
So they make him throw all his fish back.
He can't fish anymore until you go back to U.S. waters, probably.
Oh, he can't fish anymore the rest of the day, period. He's DQ'd for the day.
Yeah, he's DQ'd for the day.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
and per the rules then, he's DQ'd for the day, okay? Well, I don't have cell service, I don't worry about it. He just doesn't fish anymore.
Right.
Well, we get back into U.S. waters, we fish, yada, yada. We go in, and Bill apparently, maybe he talked to my co-angler, talked to somebody, or whatever. They found out. Maybe Canadian police reported. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he comes up to me in the way bag line, and he's like, "Matt, I need to talk to you."
Oh, God.
And I'm like, "All right. What do you need, Bill?" And he said, "Well, he's like, you're kind of in violation of rule so-and-so by not reporting the violation that took place on your boat right when it happened." And I said, "Are you talking about my co-angler not having a license?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, yeah, and per our rules, you have to report that immediately." I said, "Bill," I said, "let me tell you something." I said, "I'm 20-something miles into Canada. I don't have service, and if you think for 1 second that I'm babysitting and that's what I'm out here doing, you've lost your mind." I said, "That means you want me to run 20...
You're not even in the same tournament as the co-angler.
Yeah, you want me to run 20-something miles back across to the bank to where I can come up there and tell you, or back to where I have cell service, just so I can call you to tell you my co-angler didn't have a fishing license and he got DQ'd?" And you know what? After I said all that, he said, "Well, I'm gonna let this one slide. I'm gonna let this one slide." And I'm like, "Well, I think that's a good idea, And you're talking about DQing my catch, and I said, "Look, I ain't. My co-angler did what he did, I'm out of it. I'm just out here trying to do my job,
Yeah.
And anyway, well, I just had to tell that because it was it related directly to kind of what we were talking about with fishing license issues. But other than that, I've never had anybody in my boat that didn't have a fishing license.
I hadn't either.
No. So have you ever had a ticket fishing, Brian?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. I might have had a couple hunting, but I've never had any fishing.
I've never had one hunting. I'm trying to think. No, I know I haven't.
I did get a ticket one time for duck hunting without a plug, but in my defense, I didn't know the gun didn't have a plug. It was a barred gun, and I didn't check it for a plug.
That's always the story.
That's
always.
They always say
that ain't my gun.
Yeah.
That ain't my gun. I don't know whose gun
Exactly,
that is.
Jay. Yeah, gee, thanks, Bill. Yeah. All right, let's. I'm trying to back up on some of these comments. What?
It's
Wow.
48 states.
48 total states,
the-
but not every state enforces it. Okay.
Oh,
Well, that's interesting. We need a list, y'all.
I wonder if it's government controlled. Or
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it makes sense because that's a good deterrent to keep people from breaking wildlife laws if they do enjoy hunting and fishing in other areas.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Any questions? Any comments, y'all? We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I know it's a Wednesday night. It's a little off, little not that's not normal nights for us. But
No, maybe we should just move to Wednesday since
just
everything
move to
works on,
Wednesdays.
everything seems to work well on a Wednesday.
yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any issues with that. It might actually benefit our lifestyle more now because both my daughters have ballet on Tuesdays now. So
Yeah.
Well, the new ballet schedule hadn't come out. It starts back when school starts back. So I'll keep you posted on that. What are your boys doing now? Are they?
So Wiley is at a church retreat at the beach. He'll be home tomorrow.
Okay.
And Cooper's just tearing up stuff. That's what
Yeah,
he does.
that's what little boys do.
That's what he does. He's good at it. Very talented.
Yeah, we again we're we wanted to make sure we got in a show this week because it's been a long time since.
And it's
we've
probably
been
going to be a while before we have another one. Well,
What,
that I'll
Jeff?
be.
What are you doing?
Looking at the glare on those checks.
Oh, well, we did have a comment earlier on when. Did you get a big cardboard check for Red Crest? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I got to get it framed.
Well,
It's going in my shop. Jeff's going to have to make a repro. or reproduction.
these are all repros.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are all
Yeah,
repros.
yeah. Jeff's going to have to make a reproduction.
Well, we need it up
The
here.
original's
so
going in my office.
We can.
Gilmore style.
I'm gonna have to just take my 2 checks down so Brian can have more room for his. All right, we again we
Tyler, my phone did it again. It's all right. Fixed it. No.
Fred, that's another topic I want to dive into real quick. So, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, of course, egos aside, anglers and fans first.
I
100%.
think that would be great.
You know, I would say 25, have a 50 angler tournament, top 25 from each tour. Somebody said top 10, but I think you need a little bit
Yeah,
bigger
I think
field
you
than
need
that.
more than that.
There's too many good anglers that would be
Right.
left out.
Yeah, like if you had a 50 angler field, do top 25 from each
That would be awesome.
MLF and bass. That would be.
So I made a
That
post.
would be like a media dream too.
Yeah, so
Like-
100%. Like
Right.
that, and that's, you talk about growing the sport, like really growing the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like those events, even the TTBC, I remember back in the day, and you won one.
Yeah.
When they had like
Those were the funnest events.
the most fun.
Yeah, they were.
The Gary Allen, the Band Perry, I'm talking about big giant.
Oh, I never went to those.
You never went to the concert?
No.
Well, that's because you were still fishing. I was probably out. So I'm trying to think I mean, they had huge names at those tournaments.
Right.
And that's what brings in new people to our sport. And because what people do, they're like, oh my gosh, Gary Allen's playing a concert. And they go to the concert because they love Gary Allen. They're like, oh, it's a bass tournament. They're like, what's a bass tournament? And then they find out what a bass tournament is. And then they see a weigh-in. They're like, oh, this is really cool. And they start following the sport. You know, that's,
Keith Wood, I agree with you. I am tired of spawning tournaments as well.
yeah. Well,
That's all we've done this year. We followed the spawn from Florida to New York.
I did
all the way up.
I did see a statement earlier.
Except
that,
for Douglas Cherokee, that wasn't spawning.
Well, about if you're looking at fish on four-facing sonar that are spawning, why do they not have to be hooked inside the mouth? Just because the rules haven't caught up with technology yet is what I think. I think eventually that could change, but
Yeah.
but it's going to have to be
most
carefully
of the
addressed.
time they're biting at that lure, like you're not snagging it. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the sight fishing rule it's written not to punish people. I mean, it does, but it doesn't punish you. But it's not written to keep you to make you throw a fish back that just gets unluckily hooked outside the mouth. It's written to keep people from specifically trying to snag that fish.
Yeah.
That's why it's there, and that's why the rule exists. Because, I mean, I guess way back in the day, somebody might take a treble hook and just try to stick it in the side of them.
No, they hunted like I fished with some old timers.
Yeah.
That they would all be like, yeah, we just snag them off the bed. They
Right.
could not. Some of them could not believe, and some of them are not with us anymore. I mean, I'm talking about like
Way
30,
back.
40 years ago, 50 years ago in tournament fishing, local club tournaments and stuff. Guys would take like, big Rapala twitch baits with 3 treble hooks on them and upsize the treble hooks, and they would literally snag spawning fish. Now,
Right.
the fish would show semi-interest in the bait, but as soon as it did, they'd just be like, whoosh, you know, and they'd snag them. And some of them, it was so funny because when you and I learned how to bed fish, we learned how to bed fish and hook them inside the mouth and make them react and catch
Right.
them, the right way, the
And I
sporting
think
way.
that's what 99% of all anglers do.
No,
bed
for
fish,
sure.
even on lower levels.
But some of those old timers were like, there ain't no way he's catching all them fish inside the mouth.
Yeah.
They just assumed
Yeah,
that people
everybody's
were snagging them. Yeah. So it was kind of funny. But that's all changed. And that's long gone now. Like, I don't think we see, Mike Long, Mike Long's out there everywhere anymore. There's a little
I
bit
hadn't
of,
heard his name in a while.
I hadn't either. I just saw it.
That's what I said.
Urban posted it. So, but
Oh,
yeah.
God. Mike Harris said Randy Blockett agrees with me on spawning fish. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Talking about spawn tournaments, I'm assuming, like not having
I
a lot of
don't
spawn.
mind spawn tournaments, but I want some other things too. I don't want them to all be spawn tournaments.
Well, it's rare though. Like we've had, let's see, Murray was 50-50. Santee was not really. I mean, there was some
Yeah.
caught off the bed, but not really.
I guess this is the only Murray was spawn played a good bit when we were at Murray.
Yeah, it was about 50% of our tournament.
Yeah.
But that being said,
But
it's-
even like when I talk about spawn tournaments, I'm not just talking about sight fishing, but fishing for fish that are spawning because it's so technique specific. I mean, you're going to have guys flipping, pitching, something like that.
Sure.
Like I'd like to see an equal mixture of pre-spawn events, post-spawn, summer events, and fall events, where you kind of run the whole gamut of, the yearly cycle of a bass. Instead of all the tournaments be focused around that spawning period, you might fish a lake that's a week before they start spawning or when they start spawning or a week after they've started spawning, which it seems like that's where all our events have kind of fell into this year.
yeah, it's been interesting for sure to watch how this year's unfolded. But and there again, even when you schedule these events, if you spread them out 12 months out of the year, you got less chance of this happening. But with the crazy weather and how we jump around states,
Right.
like we've seen spawns happen, early April. We've seen them happen in May. We've seen them happen in March,
Yeah, well,
So
the Norman Redcrest, I've never seen fish on the bed at Norman the second week of March. And,
Oh, yeah.
And there were guys catching them at Redcrest off the bed, which is crazy.
Yep. That's very true. So, yeah, fall tournaments, we had that, obviously fall tournaments are in theory and typically true that they're tougher events. There was a lot of negative feedback about the Sabine River just based on the fact of how big the fish are. Now, I'm not going to disagree with that. Like, I don't like fishing for 12 inches like nobody really does. But a grind fest, somewhere like Gunnersville in the fall or somewhere like, where, every cast could really make a big difference and you got to work your butt off to catch them and you got to work your butt off to generate bites, but you'd still have a chance of catching a 6-pounder, and making a making difference in your
See,
event.
I don't mind those events.
I'm saying those are fine to me.
Yeah.
But if I was at a lake to where I'm grinding literally for 6 pounds every day, then that's, I would rather grind for 10 pounds or 12 pounds or 4 or have a chance
But
at
it's a
catching
whole different set of, it's a different technique and a different skill set. The
Well,
only
now, wait a
time.
minute. Sabine's a tidal river, so I already know you'd hate that.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't like it at all. But I wouldn't mind. The only thing I can compare it to is the one time we had the Forest Wood Cup at the Three Rivers in Pittsburgh, where we were fighting for a 6-pound limit. And I guess that's a little different than fishing the tidal river because at least at Pittsburgh you did catch a lot of fish. You get 20 bites a day.
The Sabine is kind of like that, but
You get a lot of bites.
Well, like the second day when I had 2 keepers. I should have had 3. One jumped out of my live well. I don't know if I told
Are
you
you
that.
serious?
Yeah,
No, I didn't
I'll
know
tell
that.
that story real quick too. So
All right.
I was having a really bad tournament, obviously. Had a bad first day, had 3 fish for 310 or whatever it was. I was in like 90th place or 96th place. It was bad. Second day, I know I needed like 9 or 10 pounds to make a run at the cut. I'm fishing. I've got 2 keepers in the box. About noon.
Yeah.
I hook my 3rd keeper. It's like a 13, 14 inch. A pretty good one.
Good
you
one.
know?
Yeah, good
like
one.
probably like a 1.6 or something. And I get it in the boat, and I go to put it in the live well. And when I do, one of my 2 keepers in there, which big fish don't do this. Again, this is a good point of having fish in lakes where the fish are a little bit bigger. This little sucker must have been sitting down there at the bottom of the live well like this.
He was spinning. He was getting his motor wound up.
I opened my starboard side of my live well, and that sucker looked just like one of those mullet down there. He come out of that live well, never touched the back deck, and porpoised nosedive right into the lake, back into the Sabine River. I dropped my other one in the live well, shut the lid, and I sit down in the boat, and I'm like, you know what? It wouldn't surprise me right now if I stood up and my legs just fell off. Like my tournament was going that bad, and I just had a keeper jump out of my live well into the lake. And you know, this is funny because I said this on stage when I weighed in. I said, you know, Scott Martin, my roommate, one of the Scott Martin, when he goes to cull fish and he's got, you know, 5 fish in the box, he opens up every lid on the back deck and he makes like a trap. So if one comes out, he's gonna hit that lid and go in one of the other boxes.
That's pretty smart.
And I'm like, I never did that because I just took it for granted. You know, it's never happened to me. Like, it's one of them things. It won't happen to me, you know.
Right.
And it happened to me. So I'm just going to be, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Open up every lid on the back deck or have people or your co-angler or your tournament partner or somebody back there ready to protect the side of the boat. So
I had that happen once in a BFL at Santee.
Yeah, one jump out?
I was, not while I was putting it up, well, kind of the same situation. I was getting them out to put them in the bag to go weigh in. And I only had 4 fish. I had 3 big ones and like a 12-incher. And just like Matt said, the 12-incher jumped slam out of the live well, went back in the lake. But that's the only time it ever happened.
Not good. Yeah, and it's always the little one. The good thing is it's the little ones. But at the Sabine, the little ones were big players.
I don't think the big ones have got enough. My phone did it again.
They can't get enough momentum.
They don't have enough room in there to get enough momentum.
When they jump, half their body's still in the live well when they get as high as they can.
Well, you think that little one, he back up, he's got that much room to generate speed.
Yeah, that's right.
A big one, he backs up, he's only got this much room to generate speed.
It was like slow motion. Like, I didn't even throw my arms up and try to catch him.
Now, see, I'm a little disappointed in you, though. You being the pickleball master that you are, like I figured you to.
Okay, you know, so in my defense, in pickleball, I'm like anticipating your shot because I can see you, and I can see your racket, and I can see the ball. I'm not anticipating this dude coming out the live well at 110 mile an hour. So, and the water was dirty. Even that, like I couldn't see him. Like he might have been down there going, brum, brum, brum. But I couldn't hear him either because he was underwater. So I had that's my excuse. That's my reason, and I'm sticking to it. So, all right, we. A bass tournament, the bass championship, like in October, like a mixed deal. You know,
That's when they used to do the TTBC.
It was in the fall.
Yeah, it was in the fall.
I would give anything to see like a tour championship like that, like a multi-tour championship.
I would too. It would be fun. I wish the leagues would both come together and do that.
Hey, Keith Wood, you know, it's so funny he said that because
I was scrolling back. I hadn't seen any bots.
You hadn't seen the academic mailbox comments?
I just seen one of them.
Okay, so if you read those comments, I just asked the academic mailbox if it's a bot.
Really?
Yeah, ask it.
Academic mailbox. Are you a bot? Are you messing with me or are you being serious? I don't know.
We're going to find out.
I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Well, if you look, so it's funny because I think Keith Wood's dead on. Jeff about fell off his stool in there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can't embarrass somebody that's ignorant on the subject because I don't know.
No, so if you probably never been on our YouTube channel, have you?
No.
Okay, you've never watched the episode or looked at the comments on our YouTube channel, right?
No.
Okay, so
angler through and through.
If you angler through and through, oh, that's funny. So academic mailbox makes some posts on our YouTube comments on some of the shows, and they're some of the most complex, intelligent, educated responses like you see here.
Maybe it's a really intelligent individual.
It might be Ronnie Moore.
Could be.
That would be somebody that would act like Ronnie Moore, 100%. All right, he goes on and on and on. That's right, Gary. So if you look at the comments, so what do you think, Jeff? Academic mailbox responded, said angler through and through.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. There's nobody that I fish with on bass that's smart enough to respond like that.
Academic mailbox over there just to mess with me? Okay.
Yeah. Well, is that undercover Randy? It is funny that you were compared to Randy Blockett earlier.
I know. I don't know how to take that.
Well, Mike Harris said, that he just agreed with.
I do
with
not
your
still use
deal.
the Foretrex. Chris, I have had an Ultrex for 3 years now.
Yeah, he got off the Foretrex train. It's been multiple years ago. Mike had said Randy's rather abrasive with some of his comments. He is very forward. But there again, got to respect that. So Jeff's over there laughing. But is that right, Bankwood?
What?
He said reason you're so good because you don't waste time watching his own show.
Well, I'm here.
Hey,
I
Bankwood, I got to get on there. Somebody's got to
remember-
respond to some of the comments on there, and I try to. People, when they ask a question, they like a response. I mean, typically that's the way it works. So I try to get on there and do.
I don't think the academic angler mailbox is a bot.
You don't think it's a bot?
I don't think it's a bot.
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm still questioning
Intellectual individual.
it. But I'm still questioning it. Still questioning it. We've got about
We got an AI infiltration on the Let's Talk Fish.
we got about 8 minutes, and I mean it's just the responses that come from academic mailbox that I'm so
You want him to
perplexed over.
Start speaking redneck so we can understand it better.
They're so the common ground. Yep, sorry, Mike. He said
I know.
he said he wasn't
Messing,
comparing Brian to Randy, just pointing out the common ground. Jay wants your Foretrex.
I got one.
You still got your Foretrex?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, it's
carry
in
it
the-
with you to tournaments?
No, it's in the attic in the shop.
Oh, okay. Well, you saving it for like antique value or something one day?
Yeah, I thought maybe one day I'd get a little John boat or something. You never know when you're going to need a spare trolling motor. I've got one. It's not hurting anything. It's not taking up room.
So,
And I may need it one day.
so here's the funny thing. So we were just talking
And
about.
maybe I just don't want to let go completely of my Foretrex.
You got that camera? You got that camera ready? You got a camera ready for that chair right there? Well, because that needs to be turned. So we were talking about we think we have
It's
a
pointed
bot.
right at me right now.
We think we have a bot on our feed, and the bot keeps responding. Sorry, it's not a bot. It's just an armchair quarterback. Academic mailbox. We thought the only person that was intelligent enough and smart enough and educated enough in the fishing industry to make comments like that and be just so complex in their responses. And I said, well, it might be the only person I know that it could be is Ronnie Moore. And the one reason I know that it's not Ronnie Moore is because he actually just walked into the studio and just joined us, and he doesn't have a phone in his hand, and he's not typing on it.
Well,
so,
I closed out all my tabs when I came
did
in,
you?
just so you didn't know. you know.
Welcome, Ronnie Moore, to the studio.
What's
y'all.
up, guys?
Conveniently, they did quit messaging him when I seen him come to the door. So
Well, I will say, I knew you guys were going to talk about me, so I started the 10-hour trek this morning, so I'd be here right at the end of the show.
So we do have the what do they call? What's Zona call you? Does he just call you Ronnie? I call
Ron,
you the
he
book,
calls me Ron a lot.
Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
The book of knowledge.
Yeah, I got the screen of knowledge, so
The
he
screen of
picks
knowledge,
picks
yeah.
on me that way. Ronnie Moore stats, like whatever. But yeah. I will say,
Stat King.
if you've ever seen a Bassmaster post or any fishing post, I don't hide. I comment with my own page, so I don't need a bot. I don't need an automated. I just do it, and I even commented with the Bassmaster page on the way in.
I was
so I'm
talking.
just
I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I said, Ronnie is super engaging on social media, which is awesome because like when people have a comment or something, let's be honest, it's social media, so there's a lot of things that need to be set straight out there. And sometimes people are in positions where they can do that. Sometimes people are in positions where they can't do that. Ronnie is great because he's always quick to point out somebody when they make a false statement about something, and I appreciate that. I know everybody in the fishing world appreciates that, but it's a breath of fresh air when I see your response.
I've been told to tone it down just a little bit. Just to
I
make
say
sure,
ramp it up. I say ramp it up,
to
baby.
make sure, but no.
Yeah. So since we've got you here, we've got about 5 minutes. Ronnie, what Ronnie's doing is he's traveling around gathering up great Bassmaster content.
Doing
right?
my best. Yep.
Doing his best. But y'all do a fine job, and Ronnie's going to be crashing at the house tonight, and we're going to create a little fun content tomorrow, and then you're going to move on to bigger and better things like Bryan knew. I mean, like,
Hey, if I'm going to be away from my wife and daughter, I've got to fill the time with productivity. So I've got to go take care of the guys who talk just as much as me. So that's why I'm going to go to Bryan New tomorrow.
There you go. There you go. He's
I'm
always
going to
got
ask
something to
him
say.
why
Yeah.
he ran around 128 miles at Lake Murray. That's my question to him. I'll ask him.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you know that? I don't even know how that's
Oh
possible.
yeah, he
On
told
day
me,
one.
He told me that. He showed me the screenshot of his mileage on his little thing for his motor. or
So
on
he
his
had to get gas,
draft.
right?
I
No,
don't
you
know.
can run 130 miles on one.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
thought you said 138 miles. I'm like, well, that's pushing it. Like,
It's close.
It's
yeah.
close.
yeah, that's pushing it.
He's a skinny fella, so he could probably get a couple more miles.
Little
per
light
year.
Yeah,
right
he's
fella.
probably getting like 3.2 miles to the
True.
gallon instead of the standard 2.9 or whatever it is.
Maybe he should have been a horse jockey.
He's too tall.
That's true. That's true.
I think it
too
is
tall.
impressive. I think in that event, not to harp on New, because I know you were.
Oh
Going
no, we do
somewhere,
it all the
but
time on this show.
Yeah,
Bring it.
it's commonplace.
Yeah,
It's commonplace. Go
100%.
right
I
ahead.
think everybody thought he was a local to Murray, and I didn't necessarily buy into that. I know he had just moved there. He's a wily guy, just from me growing up in the Carolinas, knowing that. But the pressure that people have on their home lake, it's impressive when we actually see a good finish. You think like
I
we live
agree.
to see, oh, he should win it. There's so many reasons why he shouldn't win. When you won at Norman this year, like there's a lot of guys catching him, and you're like, dude, is he going to fold? Is he going to go to history? Is he going to fish at New? And I don't know. I always tried to fish the Carolina lakes that I knew well, like I didn't know them, and just like, oh, it's February. Marinas hold a bunch of fish. Let me circle these couple and practice like I'd never been,
Right.
and so I avoid just running docks that I know I fit, but there are a couple key docks you got to go to, but for New to do that, it was a bummer. I know that hurt him a little bit.
Hey, New is, of course, he's matured a lot since he started fishing the elites. And I think he still, which we all do, he puts a lot of pressure on himself to do well. And when he went to his home lake, kind of the first time, right, for an elite tournament and biggest tournament of his life on his, home lake, that, I think sometimes it's easy for us to overthink it. To your point, you see a lot of home lake guys. Of course, Thrift and Redcrest, that's a whole different subject. But he just dominates on Norman. Period. No matter when the time of year, he is a exception to the rule. But you see guys come out of the gate pretty strong, but then they're not able to carry it over for 4 days because I think you get to a point to where you kind of hit the panic button and then you start running history because the current deal's not working, or you ran history the first day, caught a big bag, and now you're like, oh my God, now what do I do?
But in New's case at Murray though, like I think like he wasn't a true local because he did
sure.
just move that.
Yeah, camera on day
but he
one,
knew the
yeah.
bite, and he knew that if he hit that one right place, it could be over in 10 minutes, just like a lot of the other guys were doing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of
Yeah.
worth the risk to gamble to do that. Like I talked to him about it, and I don't think he regrets anything he did in that event. I know he fished like he wanted to. It just didn't work out.
Well, in Murray in July, that works, running spot to spot to
Yeah.
spot to spot.
Yeah.
You do it. Some guys will grind it out, and some guys run it a bunch. But I'll say, like, it's weird. There's certain lakes I think that locals really don't have an advantage, or times a year.
Right.
You think Walters hasn't won at Santee on the couple of elites we've been there. It's not necessarily the timing for a local to succeed. Buddy Gross at Chickamauga. But you put an MPFL at Santee, Walters wins it. You put an Open or other events on Chick, Buddy Gross performs well. It's like the elites, they just get timed in a weird time, and you're like, I don't actually have an advantage here.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Justin, when I said matured, that had nothing to do with his skill level. So I think you're very confused on what I meant by that. Bryan is a super skilled angler. I'm just talking about,
very, very skilled.
sometimes your mental game and the mental side of fishing can get the best of you when you're on your home water because your mind will play tricks on you. And Bryan can attest to that.
The biggest thing you do is you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
And
right.
then that makes you go faster and faster. I used to be as guilty of that as anyone when I first started. Like I would decide, well, case in point, the very first ever FLW tour event we had at Norman, I think was 2007. I ended up finishing 10th. But the last day, I only caught one keeper all day long on Lake Norman.
Is that the one Stetson won?
I think that's Larry Nixon won that.
Oh, okay.
I remember that.
Yeah,
On a
he
shaky
won it
head.
up there behind the island at Windermere.
Yeah.
On shaky head.
On shaky head.
But that last day, it was kind of that snowball effect. So I was running history the whole event, but it's to the point where you pull up there and you don't fish your history thoroughly. You pull up there, you make 2 or 3 casts, you're constantly switching baits, and you're never getting really settled in. And then you just, as the day progresses, the snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it starts rolling faster and faster, and you're fishing faster and faster and fishing over top of fish instead of making them bite. I think that's the biggest demon that locals have to fight on a lake they know so much about is that rushed feeling where, you know, I've got to hit this, and then I need to run over here and hit this, and this. You've got to kind of pace yourself and don't get stuck in that rut because it'll burn you down. Like in a hurry.
100%. Keith Wood will know if Ronnie's going to ask a trivia question tonight. Well, you might just be in luck, Keith. So we're really out of
you on the
time.
spot.
I'm going to ask
But-
a quick trivia question.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm
right.
asking the trivia question. We can ask
First of all, let me just tell you the rules about our trivia question. It's
Okay.
we have a giveaway sponsored by English Choice Marine, who presents our podcast. And
And we got Zots if you want.
is whatever question you ask, just make sure. Does he have the feed up on his phone?
Yep.
Okay.
Come on, I come strapped ready to go.
Okay.
I mean,
of course he had
you
the
know,
feed up. He's
of
been
course.
responding all
Yeah,
night.
exactly. I got to log out of my other account. Though.
All right. So as long as you know the answer to the question, our rule is the first person that shoots it through your feed is the winner.
So
Period.
can I do a 2-part question? Like,
As long as they
you
can
can
answer
do
it,
whatever you want on
they
our
just
show.
need to answer it in one response.
okay.
So,
yeah.
So
I'll say, you know, the
Yeah.
part, and then I can, I've
Yeah.
got one off the top of my head.
So real quick, well, I figured the Book of Knowledge had every question. He has every question and
it's
answer wrapped up.
2023. It's the iPhone of knowledge. We don't do books on
iPhone.
Yeah,
knowledge.
that's true. Unless you're like me and you've got an iPhone 8.
Oh, Jay's got a question for Ronnie. He said, Ronnie, will you ever allow Canadians to win fantasy fishing prizes?
That's not on me. That's not even on anybody in Birmingham. That is on like sweepstakes winners. I even see like pros do that. They're giving a giveaway and their sponsors won't let Canada be involved. I mean, y'all got to fix your own country before we can give y'all free stuff. Y'all got to get before you free stuff.
Agree.
Keith Wood said not with this crowd. One part.
Oh, yeah.
question,
He said,
Ronnie.
no, you can't have 2 parts with this
Okay.
crowd.
One
He
part
said, got to
question.
be one part.
Okay.
Yeah, you should see some of the answers we get sometimes. There'll probably be some answers come through before you finish the question.
That's
So,
fine.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, 100%. It'll be
I
like
tend
Jimmy
to
Houston,
speak
Bill
before I
Dance,
finish
Larry
listening.
Nick. Do what?
I tend to speak before I finish listening
Oh,
anyway.
well, we're all guilty of that. So, all right, y'all. I know we've run out of time, but Ronnie busted his tail just to get here for the last 10 minutes of this show. So we appreciate you doing that.
There's 6 cops outside that I told them, like, I'll be out in 10 minutes if
hold
y'all
on.
just
Just
wait.
hold on
Just
a
wait.
second.
Yeah.
Hold on a
There's a lady
second.
and a dog, and so they were all spooked when the cars pulled in.
See, look
No.
at the feed. I've got like 5 answers.
Yeah, we
right
already
now.
got answers.
18.4 is close. It's close. Okay, so
Jekyll Island,
I've got one for
1913.
you.
All right, so all right, y'all. This is the trivia.
This is for the Bass Live folks. If they watch Bass Live, they should get this. So it's going to be.
I'm sure we got a lot of those. So all right, so Ronnie's asking the trivia question again. Ronnie is in charge of the feed
Matt and
because
myself do not know the answer.
we don't even know the answer.
We don't know
even
the
know the question. So
Do you want to mute and get the answer?
No,
no,
it's
because
up
we'll
to
screw
Ronnie.
around
It's
and
all
not
on
mute it.
Ronnie.
Like if
Nobody
Tyler's
can
in
be
charge of
mad
the
at
sound,
us
we'll screw
tonight.
that up too somehow. So
I'll
All
give
right.
y'all a chance to guess it. When I start seeing it pop, I'll give you guys a chance to guess it, and then I'll reveal it. So I'll give y'all a chance to do it. as
okay,
well.
you're gonna need 2 hands because that feed's gonna fly when you
Our
ask this
people are
question.
pretty good. They may get
Okay.
it.
So
Here we go.
just for explanation, last year, 2022 Elite Series, one angler got a check in all 9 elite events, and that was Brandon Lester. We've gone through 6 this year. Who are the 3 anglers that have made a check in every event so far?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
3. They have to name 3 anglers.
Yeah, I was going to do how many and then who are they, but I kind of couldn't explain it
so
without saying
that's good.
3.
I like
Three,
that.
3 are.
names of elite guys
That have all
That have
cut
made checks and
And
all-
so
Okay.
now I ask y'all, since it's 3 answers, if someone gets 2, if no one gets
No.
3, if someone gets 2,
No,
they don't
somebody
get
will get it.
No, it has to. First of all, it has to be all 3 of them in the
but
same
now-
Stanley
answer.
Mitchell's close. No.
So
All right,
is
here.
it
Hey, do me a
like
favor.
50 place and above checks?
Yes,
or-
yeah,
okay.
like make the cut. You got to make
Yeah,
the day
okay.
3 cut. Yes.
Write it down. Write it down on there.
Oh, Matt's close. Matt was close, but he did not get it.
Ooh. Yeah, we need all 3 answers in the same.
Boys are gonna look at the AOY and think it's just 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
gonna
just
try.
say that.
I'm gonna try to help you. Mike, that's rude.
Matt's not right. Buddy's not right.
Well,
Ryan said
we
the
just
same
talked
thing.
about
That's
me and
not
you
right.
finishing dead last. So I think that's where
yeah.
that comes
No, I haven't seen it yet. You guys have got 2 of them, but you do not have the third.
Man,
yet.
I could have been on that list if it wasn't for Sabine.
from. God.
So pitiful. All right, well,
I
Ronnie,
still don't see it.
Ronnie didn't slide me the paperback, so we're gonna.
Oh, here you go.
Brian's got it. Short arms. Oh, the
That was a good idea.
That's a smart man right there.
Here, let me see.
Still
it as
don't
well.
got it. Still don't got it. Still don't got it. I'm sorry, I'm not talking to the mic.
I'm-
Bill
I'm-
Dance, Jimmy Houston, and Scott Martin, or Roland Martin. I guess he's doing Roland for that one.
Dance Houston
Oh,
Martin.
that's tricky.
It
Yeah.
is tricky because
That's
one of them's not
tricky.
super
Right.
high.
So let's
He's got a
get-
bunch of 20s and
That's
40s, but
tricky.
no top.
We've I'll give y'all a hint. I've seen 2 out of the 3
Yeah.
right in a bunch of
and
comments.
a bunch of comments have 2 of the 3 right.
So this is 3 guys that have all cashed checks in every event this
Watch,
year.
the person's going to get the 3rd one, and they're going to miss up one of the first 2.
Wow.
That's
This is
impressive.
impressive. I've stumped them.
Ronnie,
I have
I
That's a
figured you
good
would.
question. That's a good question because it's
I
deceiving.
did it at the Screen of Knowledge because there were 6 anglers after Lay that had made every cut, and then there was only 3 that made the cut after.
Oh,
there
well,
was
you,
Sabine
mean,
as
you
well.
mean every top 50 cut?
Yeah,
so
made the cut.
The little
Not-
checks don't count.
No,
Okay.
No,
all
no,
right.
no.
So, you know what's
We
funny?
still ain't seen it.
Dude, we struggle.
Jeff's helped me monitor. And he's not even. He's
This
not
is
shaking,
good.
tapping me on the shoulder yet.
This is good.
Every Tuesday, you don't know how bad we struggle, Ronnie, to come up with a trivia question. I just
And-
need to text you Tuesday
yeah.
mornings.
There's
So
like
he
6
just
that I
walks in
did.
and pulls.
Yeah.
He's like, I got like 12 I can
There's
answer.
6 that I don't get to on Bass Live before because we're catching them too good or it's fun, and I'm like, I'll
Yeah.
save that for later.
Oh man,
This is interesting.
Guys, so we're going to give them another minute or 2, and we're going to give
I
them
hate
one
that
of
we.
the 3 if
I
it's
hate
not
that we
found.
stumped them.
No, I like
Walter
it. I
Cobb
like it.
suck up.
No, I don't think John, no offense, has cashed more than 1. It's been a tough year for him. Rookie year.
Here, let me see it again because I forgot one of them.
Nope, wrong one. Never mind. Wheeler. Oh, that says Welcher. Never mind.
Yeah.
Basically the same person.
Same but different.
Different, yeah. Certain traits are the same. Sorry, I should clarify.
All right, we're still
still
hunting.
hadn't
This
seen
is
it.
amazing.
This
We're
is
still
good.
hunting. All right, I hope you weren't hungry, Ronnie.
All right, I say you give them one. Give them the most obvious one.
Our Angler of the Year leader, Kyle Welcher.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's your one guess.
Welcher is one of 3.
So you've only got to come up with 2 now, guys. This is sneaky. I like it.
And he's a dude. The 3rd one that no one's guessed is one that I really do expect to win a classic one day. He is so
The
good.
one that hasn't even been named at all.
Yeah, like the
I
3rd
haven't
one that
seen
hasn't
it-
been
I
named
haven't
at all.
seen his
No,
name yet.
No.
That's another good hint, y'all. The
That
one
is
that
a
we're
good hint.
missing, I haven't seen him. We have not seen his name, period.
Man, we don't have as many. I'm disappointed. Y'all need to watch Bass Live more.
We're gonna have
Come on, you're killing
We're
me.
gonna have to give him number 2 in a minute.
You're going to have to give him number 2 in a minute.
I think they already know what that is.
No,
There-
I don't think
it's
they
kind
do.
of it's
Number 3 is the issue.
it's 50-50. There's a lot of Cobb and there's a lot of Cox. Cobb missed the check at the Sabine, so it is Welcher and Cox. The 3rd one we do not know.
Okay, so
I got
there
we
he
got
is.
one.
There he is.
Now wait a
Say it.
minute, he might be Canadian, because he's the one that asked about the Canadian fantasy
Is he-
fishing.
is he
Do
really?
we give prizes to Canadians?
It's not my show.
Hey, we're just shipping product. We're
I'm
giving
kidding.
away
I'm
product.
kidding. I'm kidding.
So it was. Do you want to announce it?
No, you go ahead.
I guess it's Jables Fishing.
Jables fishing.
Jables Fishing Cox, Welcher, and Stetson Blaylock.
Yep,
That was a
Blaylock.
good
6 for
question.
6.
So where's Blaylock at in the points right now?
I think he's like 11th or 12th.
Okay.
He's gotten a bunch of 20s to 40s, but no.
Had
no,
a good year, but hasn't had
really,
that one or
yeah,
2
not that
breakouts.
shining
Yeah.
moment yet.
And it's
He
amazing.
was in the top 10 at Sabine, but I think he fell just below the cut and lost 10 or 20 points.
Gotcha.
And then that made him fall, out of the top 10 in AOI. But
Got you.
yeah,
Well, 10-4, we appreciate it, Ronnie.
Jables.
That was a good
Great,
one.
great question. Jables, you may or may not know the drill. Send us a message
Oh,
to
yeah.
our
He's
Facebook.
got a
He
U.S.
says I do
smuggler.
have an address
He's got a
you can
U.S.
use.
smuggler.
What?
He says I do have an address.
Okay,
U.S.
good.
address.
So,
You-
Jables, send us a
Perfect.
message to our Facebook page, the Let's Talk Fish Facebook page, and we'll get that out to you ASAP. I'll shoot it over to English Choice. You'll get your heavy-duty weigh-in bag, your hat, your goodies. We'll get them out ASAP. So, congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
Ronnie, thanks again for jumping in, man.
Yeah, that
course,
was
man.
fun.
Sorry, I was a little delayed.
So now,
No.
from now on, Matt can never fuss at me for not coming up with a trivia question.
Why?
'Cause we
You've
got
missed
out.
We've had 130
We
shows. You
got
still
out.
never come up with a trivia question.
I did.
He
I
actually
came
did
up
come up
with
with one.
five.
See, if Thrift had my number and was nice to me, you
Don't
know,
give it
like
to
I'm
him.
not saying he hasn't been mean to me, but if he was extra nice to me, I
Yeah.
could I could
I
funnel
will
him
do
some
that.
texts. you know?
I will do that.
I
could
would
funnel
know
him
just
some
based
text.
on the content that it came from somewhere else, though.
No.
Well, I'll
Would all your trivia
Hey,
I've
questions
got
be
them tiered down.
BASS related?
I've got the Such level trivia, and then I've got like the Ronnie Moore level trivia. So
Yeah, but he
just
was
kidding. I
be
could get
giving
him
me
to-
trivia questions that are all BASS related.
Well,
Then I would
that's fine.
think,
It's
nah,
a
that
No,
doesn't
hey,
sound-
don't you worry. Don't you worry.
You got your BPT, BPT stats in order?
I was historically on a body of water where the last Forest Wood Cup was won, and I was running around there. I actually had to take a phone call and floated into your winning area.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't know it until later. You had left the area, and I was like, "This is a nice calm pot. I'm gonna sit here for a second." And then I was like, "Wait, that point? I know what that point is."
Yeah.
Small world. Small world. All
I had
right,
to go see some history before
That's
it got
right.
burned.
We're gonna go grab some food because none of us have eaten dinner. Ronnie's been driving all day.
I'm up to like 4 zots. We got to do
4
something.
zots, yeah. We dude, we're getting low on our 500 count bag here. We're probably 300 deep, don't you think? Ish.
I would say
Yeah.
at least.
Your doctor could probably tell you.
Have you had? No, I don't need to see him about my zot problem. Have you ever had a zot?
I have not.
Change your life, man. Change your life.
No.
Well, yeah, I can tell they're all gone. There's not a blue one in the whole bag.
See, he was so excited to get another
I
Zot, he
know.
just knocked his sun drop over.
and when he spells sun
Can I
drop,
get
it's
like
a bad
napkin
day.
or something? Hey, there's some right
Hey,
there.
there's a trivia that you could wipe with the trivia.
There you go.
No, that's going to make a mess worse than it is.
Well, Ronnie, we
That was a
appreciate it
good
again.
Yeah, of
Better
course,
late
guys.
than never.
Of course.
Y'all,
I'm
you
sorry.
know-
Hey, I'll say this. I'm sorry to hijack. I'm sorry you had a bad Sabine, but as someone who's watched every minute of bass fishing this season and all of all times, Sabine is in the top 3 most fun tournaments this year, behind Murray.
Fun for who?
Coverage wise,
Oh, okay.
the fans, viewers,
Hey,
the fans, viewers. There's so much strategy, and you're never out of it. Someone
Yeah.
catches a 3.5, and they go. They're in the game.
And,
I
and
always-
nobody's
scary.
using forward-facing stone.
I always
Exactly.
said that, and you know, it's not
Exactly.
like there's, and you know, I look nothing against smallmouth tournaments. I love smallmouth tournaments because they're fun and you get to catch a lot of them and they're big. But it is tough as a fan. It is more entertaining and engaging as a fan to see a Neely Henry from last year or a Sabine River tournament or a
Pop
Lay
Art
Lake
getting
tournament.
exploded on. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like I mean, and you've got guys doing 20 different things, you know,
I-
on different
and I-
ends of the lake.
Not to throw shade, not at all, but for perspective, 2019 Winyah Bay, it was the triple header of conflict.
Yeah.
Tour was on Cherokee, the BPT was on Chick, I think Upshaw won and Morgan won,
I remember
and we
that,
were at Winyah
yeah.
Bay, April.
Yeah.
Places that are far better than Winyah Bay. And Stetson Blaylock fishing close, Scott Canterbury and others going far. Scott has the lead when he leaves the Cooper River. Stetson catches a 1.7, 1.10 in the last hour to cull up, ends up beating Scott. That whole strategy, do you stay, do you go, do you more fishing time, better area? That strategy is something that it's captivating. And so when
Yeah.
people were telling me then that they were keeping an eye and they were switching over there because the story was still yet to be told.
Well, absolutely.
Was fun for me.
And that doesn't, you know, you're not throwing shade because that doesn't have anything to do with whether
No.
it's MLS.
No, it's not.
And
The anglers
it's
like,
because
oh,
of
it
the
got to look right.
location
Yes,
and
it's
the fishery and the
captivating.
dynamics of
Yes,
what's
it's
going on.
different.
So
And a
it's
student
different.
of the sport, like if you love bass fishing, you're gonna watch all of it anyway.
sure.
Yeah,
like
for
I
sure.
watch
Yeah.
all of it.
I
you
mean,
just drop
late-
your wallet. Somebody
I
grab
felt
it real
it
quick.
fly
I'm
out
gonna
my
go.
pocket.
Yeah,
That thing's thicker than one of my tackle boxes right there.
just hundreds.
It's like a
just
3700 Plano down there
It's
on the
full
floor.
of IOUs.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all tuning in again. Thank you to Ronnie, Brian. Appreciate you being here. It's going to be a little while before we're back live again, but y'all know where we're at Tuesday night. Well, it's Wednesday night. I know that's kind of a lie now, but first one in 130 episodes we've had on Wednesday night because we had technical difficulties.
We got
last
the
night.
problem solved though. Quit talking about it. We're
Yeah,
done with
We're
it.
good. All right, we're good.
Water under the bridge.
Clean show. Everything worked. Do it. I'm good. I'm good. Well, Jeff has a used iPad for sale if anybody wants to shoot Jeff Walsh a message on Facebook. But appreciate y'all tuning in. We can't go fishing on Tuesday nights, a.k.a. Wednesday nights. We'll sit right here and talk fish.